Okay, welcome back, everyone, for the starting of our working session. Now, let's see, starting the working session, old business, home rule charter update. I'll go first. I don't have an update, which is expected given the Thanksgiving holiday. I will try to follow with for again and see if we make that way.
I haven't followed up on we've already contacted the conflict, the borough conflict people on Jefferson Hills, but I'll put that on my to-do list and get to very shortly.
Yeah, hopefully, we can, both of us can get responses in the next 2 weeks before our December 18th meeting.
Yeah, manager never did get back to me, so, but I'll reach out to the conflict, see what I can come up with there.
Same here. Okay, so now we're on to board commission appointments and reappointments. Yes,
The list was in your packet. Bear with me, I'm bringing it up here. So you can see all the people who wanted to be reappointed, who didn't. We have Mr. Slagle's application. He's currently serving on the scholarship committee. So we have his background check. He has previously been interviewed. It's council's decision if you want to move forward with appointing him to the planning commission, or if you would like to bring him in and hold off on that appointment until January.
We did interview him.
Yeah.
He was here, you were already, yeah, he indicated he was interested in these commissions. Now there's an opening. I don't think we have to re-interview him, especially when there's not 12 people standing around trying to get the spot.
Right.
That's my thought.
He's an active member on the scholarship committee too, so he's involved.
yeah,
The other applicant is already on one spot.
The other, I never got a response. I had he'd submitted an application and a letter of interest. I had indicated that the additional forms were required and I never received a response. And we have no other applications. Dr. Cloudy, I added the motion to the agenda for her appointment to the scholarship committee. So that's it. So I guess we just need the go ahead. All the reappointments were put on the tentative agenda. If you want to move forward with that or some change.
if we're okay moving forward, I'd say, yeah, we don't want to impede business, or progress.
Mr. Swagger.
It's just like one, so it's with these funds.
No, he would fill one of the open vacancies. We currently have 2 vacancies.
Okay, so the 3 would have been today.
Correct. Correct. And then if you want to do that, then
Yeah, I want to put it in council before we move, the proposal is, I've been in planning commission for like 2 years. Pretty cool, learned a lot. Yeah, and when we do meet, so Dr. Lee has expressed interest, and I think it's great. It's good to have transition and other people actually trying it as well. So I'm interested in stepping down, and Dr. Lee is interested in one of the open spots. So I want to make sure council is okay with that. Any objections?
Do we need to follow the normal application? And I don't know if we need to interview you, but
If you want to interview him, that's great.
I think all we really need to respond.
You need something from me.
we would need a formal resignation for the bond. Shortly, there you go.
As far as Gary Slater, was he replacing William Shannon or Laura Coombs, or 2 different terms?
Which
That
I'm
would be which
term?
Biggest one, I guess.
Mhm.
I think he went for 27.
Mhm.
More than in addition, I can read.
Yeah.
At the end of the meeting, I don't know if I saw Alan Check, who's a retired attorney now, who's involved in the White Oak litigation. So he was the solicitor for the library board, so meant he's retired, he's looking for things that eventually, hey, we were talking about appointments, and otherwise, let's say he doesn't get off the couch, so usually is a.
I think I was pushed, yeah.
No, that, I think that's. We're on the, no. Yes.
We can remind Alan, we can shoot him an email and say, hey, this is just up your alley, you need this. Yeah. I also was pushing him, in the event we did have home rule charter, that it would be something you could participate in too, quite constructively.
His knowledge,
Yeah.
his knowledge of the topic.
Yeah.
So that would be good.
Yeah.
Have anything else for the appointments? So. Okay, sounds good. All right, on to new business. Review the agenda for December 18th.
All right, you have the agenda. It is a long one, as is tradition for December. Continuing with that, in terms of items going on the second page, we do have the public hearing on the proposed change to the dimensional requirements and a table that we had tabled originally, and the land use committee had reviewed, revised. On the planning commission, positive recommendation there, Allegheny County Economic Development. A little confused as to what we're doing and how this interacted with what we did before, but nevertheless, we got comments.
So, like, did you mean to send us this without with the chart, without the chart? Yeah, that's great, yeah.
So we got that squared away. So we are set to have the public hearing, and typical options to take action will be advertised as potential action following the public hearing. We do have the optional notice, motion 5. Once again, it's not mandatory, it's optional. It provides post enactment notice to the public in case there's procedural validity challenge. Somebody can't come back, 5 years from now and said, you forgot one part of it, and therefore I'm challenging it, and then therefore it's void. So we've done those in situations where we've had a little bit of an unusual enactment process. This one is not as unusual because it's pretty straightforward once we set it forth in October. Minimal cost, advertised twice. So Post Gazette is kind of expensive these days. Up to council if you want to do with motion 5. The public hearing is on a home occupation. Tim or our members of the planning commission want to give a little preview with respect to that and what to expect. Any opposition? Maybe?
Do you want me to go first? Okay, so my understanding of the situation is we have an applicant. So their house is technically, it was the builder of Spring Ridge built this house and they petitioned to be outside of HOA, so it's not a part of a neighborhood. The entrance is a very long, windy driveway from the road. They're close to that church, the Franklin Park Baptist Church. So she has gotten into growing some flowers and greens and stuff over some time, and has been encouraged to have a little stand. So that is what this is for. The stand is like at the bottom around, there's no special entrance or anything. It's not some national grocery licensee or something like that. It's just a park.
So this is gonna be done as a home occupation for, she's gonna grow flowers on her property and package them and sell them there.
Is that required that she grows them on her property?
Yeah, so
You can't bring
any
them
products
someplace
that you
else.
sell on property.
Put that in the.
Is this that sell locally grown fresh cut flowers? It doesn't say that she's growing.
Staff report that.
Okay,
Yeah,
it's
and the
different.
conditional use, or in the report from planning commission.
Okay.
They have about 3 acres, I think is the lot is.
Yeah.
It's quite sizable, so you can actually see from the road because when it goes in a valley or whatnot. So Yeah.
Would the stand be right on Nicholson Road though?
Yeah.
Further
back-
into it,
back down the
yeah.
Driveway.
Okay, good. I know the address is Nicholson, but I just want to be sure you don't have people stopping around.
Yeah, how's she-
And that was the problem.
How's she gonna track? Is she gonna put signage which we don't really want? Is that what
She can put a sign up, but it can't be big enough to make any difference. So it's gotta be. by
word of mouth.
And she did say she's gonna put some kind of parking up there too, right?
Yeah, she'll have parking and she's gonna have a she shed. So,
Yeah, that's what the
yeah.
generic picture looked like.
I think it'll be nice. Nice addition.
Yeah, that's all we know about it. And there's no planning commission meeting this month.
Yep. The other items on the agenda, just to note, Willow Ridge is done with their maintenance, period. We did not have to chase them or have them do final repairs. It's always appreciated. So that one will be, and they pay their escrow even better. It's like Christmas.
And motion number 9 may disappear. That's the Montgomery Road Stormwater Project, and that's being handled through the COG. And we can't award until the county gets a signed contract back to the COG, and they haven't yet.
Mhm.
So it'll be right after the day before that we figure out whether or not it's gonna stay on the agenda.
And then the other ones are mostly end of the year, end of 2025. Well, that's the appointments week. Do we want to talk, I mean, maybe other Gary's report, or I guess the golf course, Jim, the motion number 35 was added with the month. Really? That's the reports.
Okay. Any questions?
What's this subdivision?
Which one?
The motion number 7, what's going on with the subdivision?
Let the sewer.
Okay, with that. Foxfire Court, Jared Cole.
Yeah, so this is a minor subdivision, it's just a lot line revision, gentleman owns two separate properties, and he wants to kind of switch off the properties, taking some from one lot and putting it onto another.
This is gonna wind up with another thing like what we had on West Inglemoor Road where we. got
Now,
all
this
our
is two
complaints.
actual separate, two
Okay.
different properties.
Okay.
The only glitch here for them is they're gonna have to provide, public sewer to the, property that fronts Wexford Main, or Wexford Run Road. Because right now it's on a septic system, and dropping it to, under an acre will require them to have public sewers.
Is something gonna get built on it, like?
They're both occupied with residents,
Okay,
Yeah, it's just.
lot line
all right,
revision.
okay.
So Tim, if they, the lot, the revision, does that require them to now get public sewer?
That will require the Wexford Run Road property to have public sewer.
Is that- Okay,
Does the
That's
other
all
one
I'm
already
interested
have,
in instead.
are they aware?
Pardon?
does the other one already have public service?
Yes.
Anything else? Hey, Jim? Okay, next item, the Campbell Sprinkle Park, Campbell Authority, third partial payment. So. This, this is our third payment, splitting it up, so I wanted to convey that. Once we have Sprinkle Park paying more than the distributed data, per rata or whatnot, I do realize that we authorized $68,000 for the district to pay for it. I want to keep in remind everyone, Pine, Marshall, and Rapper was paid 5. I understand they're very small. Pine, Marshall have only paid 40. We budgeted 40, and you know that was their offer for school. Talking to our board members, I talked to Jamie a little bit more. You know, the feedback is, you know, we are aligned. You know, he's and I are totally not pleased with the formula, and there was no real rationale. Back at the last board meeting, they are very much in the mindset that we have gone along, not asking questions or whatnot. We know they gave a presentation in October. However, we were just kind of hearing them out, and there had not been any feedback. You know, if we have to go with like some sort of formula, we really should be at the $50,000 mark, not 67 or 57,000. So I realized that we have it in our budget for $24,000. We've paid 46,000 some change so far. So I want to get the council's thoughts, and Mayor, your thoughts on this, given the situation over there. Also, whether it's $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, it is not going to make a material difference in their budget for this year or next year. It is more of, you know, Franklin Park has never been consulted. We've always been told, here is the bill, we paid it. So to add to this, in addition to it, there seems to be an additional board seat going to the 3 municipalities that generally have not been paid. It is not our board seats that are going over there, it is the board seats of the candidates that are being offered. I'm not sure what the commitment is, but a lot of things are happening very decent fast at the meeting, and I was trying to kind of keep up, but they seem to have this as a done deal. So that's kind of the context it's happening.
Yeah, there was an article, I think I forwarded it to.
Yeah.
Canvas is off there, not at least one of their seats.
Mhm.
To this salary. I guess that's.
So I followed up with the McCandless solicitor, just asked, hey, what is behind this? Is this, you know, it doesn't sound like this, the type of change that requires the amendment to your articles of the corporation, because if there's language in the Municipality Authorities Act that the board members, you know, as long as they reside within the service area, and the service area can be depicted, you know, it's not just the incorporating municipalities. So it's more of a policy provision. It does not sound like they're, you know, making any change to the incorporation documents. I don't think it's an ordinance McCandless is passing. It's just sort of a policy position that they, you know, have always been able to consider member. They could have put Franklin Park residents on, or within the service area, even though we have the appointment power for two. We could, but it sounds like that was at least the way it was put forward, like we were talking about all of our appointees and that process and how you go through it. They do have some flexibility in doing it. I do understand, is Mike Witherell now the solicitor, or is he of the
Not even sure.
authority?
I'm not sure.
I heard reference that he had been consulted, part of that. I remember that was a recommendation that they get a solicitor, you know, as part of one of those reports. Had one, so that's potential change to their operations. But long story short, no formal action needs to be taken by the board, directors for the authority, or by the two incorporating municipalities.
Did it seem like this was pre-planned or pre-agreed upon,
Sounds like it.
but not?
There's no real opposition, no debate. I mean, it was kind of just flowing.
There's one seat up, but we don't know who's gonna take it or if anyone wants it.
We don't know. It is gonna be someone on one of those three municipalities.
Is it though? Do they want it?
Potentially. I mean, I think it sounded, at least from the article, and what it would be is, you know, they're just casting a wider net for applications. And before, maybe if somebody from Bradford Woods had submitted, they just say, nope, we're not even gonna consider it. Now they're saying they could consider.
The intent would probably encouraging those three municipalities to like have someone represent them.
Right, but in the past, and they've said they weren't interested, but at that point, maybe that was because they didn't want the strings that came with it.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, and technically this sounds like it would even run through these municipalities. It would run through McCandless, opening it up, and then they would go through McCandless to
So
apply.
McCandless would still choose,
Right.
you just could live in
Right.
Bradford Woods, Marshall.
Yeah, so I don't even know if they'll consider. When these municipalities got someone on the board, would they even consider that they were, you know what I mean?
Right.
That McCandless representative, or is it?
Now, yes, still out
Doesn't
voted.
seem very useful.
$25.
So
Is the formula not in our contract somewhere? This is,
No, it was basically,
so are we signed, like, we have signed this contract, we're in for this?
we're in no legal obligation.
No, I don't believe
We're under no
so.
obligation. It is just, this is what was asked. And in the past couple of years, the authority has gone around into 5 servicing municipalities and asked for contributions. This is what we think you should pay. Typically, there's been no rationale behind it, including this year. No, you know, no formula or like hard data around why you should be X, Y, and Z.
I would say this year has been the least justified.
Yes.
At least in the past, there's been a loose justification.
this is more just
Just
like,
incredible.
this is what we think based upon,
Based on past experience.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's history. So we're not under a contractual obligation for 7,000 or whatever the amount is this year. It is more of this is what they've requested, and you know, in the past, we've kind of gone along, but it sounds like, you know, my observation of going to the authority meetings and observing happening and who's actually driving the discussions and
Mhm.
decisions. You know, my recommendation, the best interest of Sprinkles Park is not to pay the full amount. And we can hold it. And just kind of force them to have some rational justification of what the pro rata percentages are.
So on this table where it has percentages, McCandless 45%, Franklin Park 20%, that's 20% of the amount they're asking for that year, or that's? What is that percentage of, I guess,
It's
because
not the utilization,
is
it's
it, or
not
is
the
it
Yeah.
the
households.
percentage of household?
So you take all the households and divide by, like Franklin Park households, and they represent that percentage of the
Yeah.
total household. And really what we're trying to aim for is a formula based on the number of households that are utilizing
Right,
the
like
service.
the library,
Yeah,
population and utilization, because utilization
Yeah.
is
A
very
blended,
heavy in
we
one,
can, yeah,
in one municipality.
yeah, right.
a blended formula is more appropriate in our case. It's not. We're significantly higher than the ask for the other municipalities, which is, that's the real, burden that I have here. So I do want to ask council's opinion. We are under no legal obligation. After talking to Adam, not Adam, sorry, Jamie, who was heading up the finance committee, I did ask a question, what if we did not do anything? And, from his perspective, financially, they will be fine. So it's more of a, if we do want to demand some changes there, this might be a carrot stick, which we can use.
And the change that we'd be demanding is we'd like to see a formula like the library instead
An
of
equitable
random.
formula that actually it does justify Franklin Park's amount that we're being asked to pay.
I kind of like the idea. We've been asking for, right, Luke, we've been asking for months. Could we please have a library style formula, maybe years? Yeah.
And McCandless,
Yeah.
from early on, didn't seem to have an issue with that.
Right.
It's never happened.
I think if the goal here is to get to the point where somebody's at the negotiating table and saying, what's it gonna make, what's it gonna take for you guys to contribute next year? You just withheld this payment. You're gonna say, well, we want this library style formula. That's what we're looking
Yeah,
for.
I mean, one recommendation was we are similar size and nature as Pine.
Mhm.
Essentially offer legal pay will Pine days.
Match them.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, if they refuse to
Mhm.
give an actual formula, that's a pretty equitable solution.
So given that it's December 4th, what do we want to do for this year? Do we want to cap it or put hold?
What's the left, is it 68 that we're
24.
supposed to?
309. Motion number
What are we giving now?
What are we, what gets them to the number?
We give it, I think we do it twice, right?
We're doing it twice. Yeah.
We're at 48 something.
We're almost at 50. So we can defer into January. The money just rolls over, right?
Or you can go ahead and give them what takes you to 50. And
That's like
it's not
$2,000.
payments. Make it to, so now you 50 for the year.
That's like $2,000.
Yeah.
Let me offer a different perspective here. I would say, let's pay what we told them we were gonna pay for the year. And then moving forward, if they don't get to the formula, we create our own formula based on population and use. And we give them that amount every year, whether or not that's the formula they use, that's what they're getting from us.
Or just match with Pine, but yeah.
Yeah, well, about whichever's less. We'll match Pine,
But,
right?
but the issue is that I don't think that if we provide this and the other, community will agree and because and look at those three communities and what they have done like for the last few years. And I don't think that's a really great idea. Let's hold at the payment. And
They're
ask for
working on
intent.
negotiations with those other municipalities though, right? To get them.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know if it's so much negotiations as they told them
Do
they
this,
need to sign a contract by.
or you're not in anymore.
February.
Yeah.
February.
Yeah.
It seems like that issue is sort of taking care of itself.
The other thing, Laura, is that we've been carrying all of this for many, many years before I got on.
Yeah.
I think it's been explained to me that basically we were just the good guys. We just paid the ambulance authority and these other communities were just free riders.
No, I
Yeah.
understand that and I
Yeah.
totally agree,
Yeah,
but I also realized that we told them we would pay this year.
That's the issue I have.
And I think we should, and then moving forward, we can play by different rules if we want to. But for this year, I would say pay what we said we would pay, and then moving forward, we're not gonna do
But
the
the-
nonsense anymore, for
But
lack of a
the
better
issue
term.
is that if we make a full payment, then nothing will change. Like this is something like that I worry about.
But do you think something will change with withholding?
Yeah,
Was
at
it
least
$12,000?
we don't pay that much. No, it's not, it's 24, right?
Is it 24?
yes.
24 is still good money. We can save and why not?
I agree, but I don't think it's enough to strong arm them.
Yeah, I would say, given our budget situation,
Mm.
I do feel like there's some rationale here. Please, wait. We will get some interaction by not paying this month. which is what we want. We do want some like changes and justification, so
So-
it's not gonna happen.
So you think instead of saying we're not paying anything more forward, going to 50, just say we're waiting and have a conversation?
What are your
We're kind of
thoughts?
holding, not like, we're not.
We can defer it.
I like it better than saying we're not paying.
Yeah, Laura, that's it. We're not saying we're not gonna pay, we're just saying we're gonna hold this.
Yeah,
You're gonna
hold
talk
that,
to us.
Feels like no point.
I know, it does.
But no. I
But they have the
understand.
opportunity to
That's
get the
fine. If
payment.
we
Yeah.
get to the table and
Yeah,
we get a
that's,
formula that.
Yeah.
The.
Yeah.
The formula is really
Yeah.
only that useful if everyone is gonna use it, or if we're willing to say,
Correct.
well, we,
we're making our own formula, do whatever you want,
Mm.
but then we have to be willing to accept whatever other municipalities pay, whether that's more or less than we want.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if we're gonna pay what we decide, then
but if we're paying what's fair for our residents and not carrying the rest of the municipalities, that's really the goal, right? So like if we go to the library formula, because we take the numbers and utilization and
The
this is our
the
payment.
library formula is binding, right? So that means all the municipalities are bound to that.
Yeah.
Right, but just because we say, we think this is the formula, this is what we're gonna pay, that doesn't mean everyone else is filling the gaps accordingly.
Mhm.
So we have to be willing to
You're right.
accept that.
and that formula is still gonna be based off of the number that they give us to say, hey, this is our shortfall.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, also they are very, I didn't mention this, but they are very much still discussing this fundraising strategy.
As if it's gonna be successful.
It was a very dominant part of the
You
discussion.
give the money back to them.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so that's kind of where.
So we have that going for us.
Feel bad.
You want to keep. the
They'll be
motion
paying
on
us.
the agenda and then vote it down, take it off the agenda.
What do we want to do? We
I'd
want
say-
to.
I would say take it off, so
Okay.
it's- we're not going.
And let, yeah.
I
And then they
can
can
let
reach
Chris
out.
know
Yeah.
why.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Brian, what do you suggest? I will get you when you're.
Yeah, I'm just saying we're gonna take it off, we're gonna take this motion for the third payment off the agenda.
Okay.
And the reason being is that we're okay paying it, probably, but we need them to reach out to us and sit down with us and talk about what the formula should look like instead of them just telling us how much to pay.
You're suggesting right now, we
Yeah.
don't pay it right now.
Right now, but.
Because that will give us some negotiation.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
Leverage.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody's saying we won't pay. We're just saying we need to hear from them because we haven't had a communication about what we've been asking for
So
Luke's 2 years.
we're not saying we're not gonna pay, but right now we're delaying it because we're gonna negotiate.
We'll get
That's
an-
it.
Get an update
We are
on
kind of
what's going on
holding
with
the
other
payment.
municipalities.
Yeah.
Until like we get some
Yeah,
response
that-
from.
I mean, that way, that's the best we can do for our residents as far as negotiating this deal is because we have no leverage. We just up the money down. Yeah,
We're just trying to play the cards we have.
Yeah, that's all we got, right?
We may not like the response. We can only try, so 1 month should not.
Yeah.
You know, if the feedback is we're not paying this at all, and they're gonna be fine, then holding for 1 month isn't be an issue.
For what it's worth, I agree with Laura. I think we should pay what we committed for this year. We're a founding member of the organization. We know what, they've given us a number for next year, and they've told us they're working on a formula already, so I'm not sure if they're holding funds to continue to prompt them to develop a formula. We know they're already working
I
on.
don't think they are working. I don't.
Yeah.
I thought we were told that, I thought the last time.
They're the issue is.
No, they came up with lump sums for each municipality, 40,000.
This looks good.
Right, and there's.
It was described as this looks good.
That's the issue, I think. It's the lump
We've had
sum.
our experiences.
Yeah, this seems good to us.
The 40,000 for
I
fine.
believe the number for the other three municipalities is what they're willing to pay. And then it'll increase.
By
3% a year, or whatever it is during their contract term, but it starts at what they are willing to pay.
So that they've been able to create a floor for this that's arbitrary. It's nothing to do with utilization or the number of residents. That's not fair to anybody.
So if they create this formula, let's say they create the formula, we like the formula, we're willing, moving forward, willing to pay for it. That doesn't necessarily mean all the other municipalities are gonna agree to that. So what happens if we like the formula, we pay what the formula says we should pay, but the other municipalities don't like their formula, and they're not.
I think they told them, sign this contract. I think the number that they've given them is probably locked in.
Yeah,
If it's-
That's
if it's
in their
$40,000,
it's gonna be in their contract.
that's the contract they've offered to them.
Yeah.
I think it's a 5-year contract, right?
5 years is what they're.
Well, is that already in there though? Because what's the formula?
This was high priority for Arvid Tech, if you go back a little ways. Is he still involved with us on this?
He's not, he resigned from he resigned from the authority before.
Well, I know that, but as a state rep, he was
talking to me a lot about.
Yeah, he was trying to get grants, so the ambulance that was $350 to $500,000. He had steered, his office was able to get grants to obtain to offset that.
But he was also very interested in us getting this together.
Yeah.
And making it happen.
Yeah, I mean, he was very much of, what, you have these municipalities, you know, his experience was you have these municipalities that are not paying. At some point, the contracts need to come in, you have to have some cards, and our cards are, we have paid, and we are board members. So, personally, we don't have any other negotiating tactic, but the contracts are a way to force, and make sure that they do fund this, otherwise Franklin Park will continue to,
Right.
we'll be overfunding. We're basically overfunding what we should be funding.
So I'm sorry, I know I keep beating this, but if there is no formula, what formula is in their contract?
There's not, it's $40,000 plus.
40,000 then increases by a inflationary factor each year. So
So-
Marshall and Pine, 40,000, Bradford Woods, I think is 5.
Well, then what do we care about a formula then? If they're just throwing a random number out to the other
Oh,
municipalities?
yeah, I think they're, at that point, the formula would really only apply to us in McCandless to determine our, you know what I mean? Because they're gonna give us a number, $400,000 we need. Okay, 85,000 this year, are we then forced to make up the difference? Which I think the answer is,
You know, I'm not sure why they don't, this is not like a library where you
Yeah.
can have the potential to come in and borrow materials and it really, I mean, this is a healthcare service and look, it's based on the likelihood of somebody getting sick and needing an ambulance.
Right,
So why wouldn't you just base it on the population only? It's potentially, if there's 30,000 in McCandless and 15 here and blah, 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 blah. I mean, potential of any one of them being involved in an accident or medical condition is probably equal throughout the population. But nothing to do with how often they're actually using it.
yeah.
well, the only thing is McCandless has all those, all
But the hospital
homes,
comes in.
not the hospitals.
They're
The seniors, and that drives that.
But their utilization of the
It's-
ambulance
it's
is,
sky high
it's
compared to
like,
ours.
yeah, we remember you asked for a couple of reports on it and it was like phenomenal the
Yeah.
difference. What they're utilizing the ambulances versus us, it's incredible.
We have a place up here on Nicholson Road too.
It's not matching it though. When you look at the utilization, it's so off. it's
I do
so
agree with you,
off.
Tom. It is a healthcare service, it's an essential service, but there are. I'm not gonna say board members, because the individuals are not board members, but there are people at the table that do not feel this is an essential service. And they've made that comment publicly before me. So that is, that is my reason why I feel like we should negotiate and use our cards, if we can. It may not turn out that anything will change, but if we don't try, we definitely know 100% this will continue the way it's going.
Yeah, it may be that for the next 5 years, we can't affect anything. I mean, to Laura's point,
Yeah.
if they're locked in at 40, 40 and 5.
Right. All we're doing is arbitrarily setting what we're planning on paying. We're sending a message.
Well, we're
this is all
saying
we
we'll
want to pay.
pay whatever share we determine based on a formula between us and McKinley side. I'm not sure.
And this is maybe not for the discussion, but how did we get to a point where they offered contracts to people without a formula?
I think that's what.
That is where they've just kind of gone with this, and they've done this.
And they're signed, these deals are done.
We don't know.
They have until February to
Yeah.
sign and
But they
supposedly
Get in there
if they
and
don't
revise them.
sign the contracts.
Yeah.
And they will give them notice at the end of the year, they will stop
They're
serving.
terminating.
Yeah, I understood that. I guess when Chris Dell was here and we talked to, he mentioned the formula briefly, and I think I specifically asked, is this gonna be in their contracts? And they said, yes. I guess I didn't understand that that was just a random number, not an actual formula.
Right, and I think when we dove a little deeper and said, how is this formula being created? And we didn't really get an answer twice. We asked the question 2 different ways.
And I think Reed is correct. I
Yeah.
think that's what they might be willing to pay at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ellen's fault on us.
We have no whole lot of projects.
They haven't given us a number for next year and what they actually expect from us.
They have 50.
57,000,
Does that match Pine?
No, they're.
minus 40. So again, we are like 45% higher than Pine, which is the more comparable to our Franklin Park. Rate.
And Marshall's the same, the 40. Probably 1.5 times the population of Marshall, I believe.
Oh,
I don't know if we're more, higher population.
Pines closer to us.
I mean, rather than make it a big deal, but it should be, I think, just because, I understand the nursing home situation, but just make them on the residents that are covered. It's the simplest way, and you're not,
Well, at least that's a formula.
it's formula.
It is a formula,
because if you
unfortunately.
If you did utilization, you have to look at last year's utilization and then apply it to this year's, right? Yeah.
Mine's the same size,
Yeah.
15,000.
So just by residents.
Yeah, unfortunately, the municipalities, some of them do not want any formula or anything to do with this. They don't want to really pay, but they might pay 40,000. So that's how they were given 40,000. Okay, so we talked about this, but that is where we are, unfortunately. Wish I had better news. Maybe at the December board meeting, I'll hear something differently, but I'm kind of doubtful. So what do we want to do? Our options are,
When's the December meeting?
it's like the third Monday.
Before, right?
I think it's the 16th.
Why don't we leave it on the agenda, we can forward, right, we can just, can we forward it to me?
Pull it 24 hours in advance.
So Tuesday
Yeah,
morning,
post the
we can
final
pull it.
agendas.
Can we leave it on, vote the table if we don't want to vote on
Yeah,
it?
probably better to vote the table rather than deny, because if you
Mhm.
just outright deny it from a vote, you gotta do a motion to reconsider later and.
So tabling is fine.
We can table it. I can tell you guys at the pre-meeting what happened. And we can go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think our message then to Chris is we need enough to have them,
Where do we stand?
right? If we don't necessarily want to focus on the formula, maybe. But we do need to know what's going on.
Yeah.
I can look in like nothing will happen.
Yeah.
And the 99%.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, the table, that's fine.
Yeah, we can definitely and hold that.
We'll get another month of interest on that. The money will sit in account for another month and we'll get interest. That's fine.
All right.
So.
It's all good, it's all good.
If we're willing to solve this, if the others don't want, that's okay. All right,
So this plane's landed, we're good.
I think for today we are.
Because we were circling for a while.
Yep.
So, okay.
Okay, yeah, I'll look, if anybody else wants to join the board meeting
Yeah.
on that day, let me know. Otherwise, I plan on, going, I'll probably go in person. More interesting. Okay, reports from staff, borough engineer, solicitor.
You have my written report. We did do a lot of work with Kathy, and thank you, Kathy, for pulling together the legal notices. As you know, we did the special meeting and the budget and the tax ordinance. We've had a lot of time spent on that, but after that, no other further updates from the submitted report. For you, Thanksgiving.
I was just gonna mention this in addition to the report I submitted for the month. I guess it just feels like this being my first year, kind of getting familiar with the seasonality of things, but feels like transitioning from budget season into audit season at this point. With a pension audit from the Auditor General's office. State of Michigan. I spoke today. All. So because it's 2019.
5 years.
So 2023 was subsequent year. Just mention that, but I mean, I didn't know.
Sounds good.
Along with my report, just want to let, everybody, I'm sure you've seen, we had some trucks out starting to salt already, kind of early for us this year. Hopefully it's not, gonna get into a heavy season.
We use salt on the tarp.
Yeah, we got 4,000 ton on the ground over it, so, we kind of plenty to start with, so I just hope it wasn't, hopefully it stays mild like it did for the last 2 years there. The other thing I had there, I guess we wanted to mention about the spot on,
Norman.
Norman Drive
Okay.
spot.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
We checked around here, we got, I have like 14 places already in the borough, and this is just things that, if we search more, I know there's plenty more out there. Areas to where these are already done, these
pipes are put out across the curbs. They feed, groundwater that's behind people's houses. Where they can't get them into a basin, they take them down, they do a curb cut. They run them out. Some of them don't even have a curb cut. They just take them down. The pipes are off the edge of the road. I mean, it's like Clearview Court, Antrim Court, Shadowbrook, Pheasant Run. There's Hunters Point. There's 4 or 5 in Hunters Point. There's numerous places that we have in the borough that have these. I had some pictures I wanted to try to upload them. I couldn't get them to try to get some pictures on it. I spoke with Reed and we just said that we wanted to mention that there's plenty of them out there for anybody that wants to see.
Yeah.
Most of them are dry. And what happens is a lot of these, when they're put in, they run for a while, they dry up. Okay. This one, it's on Norman Drive. It's still, it's still running. It's causing some icy spots down on Norman Drive there in one area.
It's all in the gutter.
Pardon me?
It's all in the gutter.
Yeah, well, it's actually getting to where it goes down into the basin. It's starting to build up by the basin and it's moving out into the roadway. So it's probably a 6-foot area that it's moving out. One suggestion that probably won't cost us very much if we want to do it is to take a shot. We can go in along the curb, maybe take it and dig down along the curb, see if there's an under drain underneath this curb that we can tie into. That would be just matter. The only thing we'd have to do is we'd have to put in one call. It'll take us 3 days for one call to go through. Probably cost us a little bit of gravel, probably a couple buckets full of gravel or wheelbarrows full of gravel, maybe a pipe. If there's a pipe under that, along the road there, we could tie into. And that might be one thing that we can look into. Other than that, it's just gonna run on the road until we, possibly if we have to do something down the line with it.
For the Hunters Point, you mentioned there's several in Hunters Point that you have this for, right? The water wasn't pooling there or anything? Or-
No, there was only one, I'd have to go back and look exactly which one it was. I didn't mark it on my list exactly which. There was like 2 of them that had a little bit, had icing, a little bit icing and some running water on it. The other ones, like I said, most of the other ones that are out there are dried up now. And that's what happens. Like I said, normally when they're put in, they'll run for a while. We've had some of them that run pretty hard for a while, but they did dry up, you know what I mean? And that's what we're kind of hoping this was gonna happen on this one here, but as of yet, it's not doing it, and it's only been a couple months and, a few months or since this has been, maybe 5-6 months since it's been put in, but that's, thought maybe through the winter time here that this would stop itself, but, we had the water retested again today. The last time we had it tested, we had it was showing, chlorine in the water, which Westview Water had a spot that they fixed up off of Rochester Road, that may have tied, a little bit of that chlorine into that. Plus there was the people that owned the property were running a sprinkler up there to get their grass growing too. So, there's no chlorine in the water right now. It's clear water. It's not sewage water. It's just, it's just spring water is what it is. And it's just, like I said, it's the only option I think we have right at the point if there's like I said, we can open that up and, it's not gonna take a lot of time to do it to see if there's an under drain under there.
What do you think the likelihood of that is?
It's hard to tell because there's not a lot of, I haven't seen a whole lot of roads that we got into that had a lot of under drain problems along the road. Most probably the housing projects, I don't know, I guess when they're put in, Tim would probably know a lot more through the years of seeing it, that when they're put in, that they have extensive water, they'll probably run under drain along the road so that it keeps the
All of
water.
them should have the under drain, and you'd be able to tell if you look into the closest catch basin and see if the small, they have 4-inch corrugated
Right.
pipe. And if that's in there, then they definitely have under drain. The problem with the under drain is that it's very easy to crush and it soaks up quickly. So, back in the day before my time, the building inspector here used to tell people just connect your downspouts into the under drain. Well, that's a mess. That doesn't work. And, so, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I mean, that's the purpose of this, drain it before it hits the curb. So wouldn't be a bad idea if it's there to connect into it. I mean, there's gravel, it's embedded in gravel, so
And it
even
follows.
if the thing is crushed, it should take the drainage. It's just, I don't know how much is running
So-
that spring.
My question is, since that right now, this is caused by the spring water. So based on your guys' experience, and do you think that it may stop at some time and in future, or it will continue?
Well,
We
there
were-
was 7 major springs in that plan before they did it. And it caused havoc for them building houses because they had trouble drying out the land and had to always redirect on the water. So if this has been running through if it's still running and has been running for the last couple months, I don't think it's ever gonna stop because we had a pretty dry spell, from the end of summer to date. So I don't think that's.
So
gonna
if
drop.
that case and, because I live in, you guys know that I live there and I enjoy passing that one every day and looks like the icing area is kind of like expanding, it's not like, and it's kind of like, almost get to the main road or something. And if we can at least, if we can do something as like, Gary, you suggest, and we probably can take some action to see whether we can connect that path to.
Yeah, like I said, it wouldn't be, it's not gonna be a lot of, it's gonna be some labor, just a little bit of labor involved. It's not gonna be a very big area to dig, and if we could tie in there and if it follows it out, it would be a way to possibly stop it. As Tim said, I mean, in some of these areas with springs, we have them down in, bottom of Elk Ridge down in North Lawn Farms. That whole area down through there, the spring water coming out of those hillsides everywhere down there, and that's the same way when they were building down there, and it continues to run in a lot of places down there too, so. And it's,
Yeah, this is built up a little bit more unusual than what you'd expect. So I did drive by this morning, and I know it's been cold the last couple of days. And I did see that ice expanding.
Yeah.
I was a little surprised. And I was trying to like see, is there anything like in there obstructing or causing that, like leaves or debris or whatnot? Wasn't really visible, but this evening on the way
it
here.
means where it's expanding, where it's.
Yeah, like all that's like.
Once it starts freezing, it's gonna start freezing and pushing itself up.
Yeah,
If it doesn't, a lot of these, basins have, areas to where they get to it. They have a little bit of a lip, try to get that water over. That water's not going over, now it's gonna start falling around. It's just gonna continue, it's gonna continue that icing out around it, I mean, now we hit it with salt a bunch of times, but the problem is, if we keep going down, it's just gonna look, there's gonna be a lot of salt on it, just to keep it.
that's what it looked like. Yeah, and I mean, this evening it was thawing out. This seems to be like a much higher than usual volume versus like what we.
Yeah, it probably looks a little more expensive, like I said, because we had salted it and it's gonna thaw and probably refreeze.
Yeah, because if the water continues, and I think that it may expand more, and so I think at this moment, I would like, ask the, Borough Council to, to approve that, to ask Gary, you and, also public work and to see whether we can do something, without something, to see whether we can be connected to, drainage system.
Yeah, it may be a quick way to stop it.
Yeah,
Sounds like a good.
yeah, otherwise, it looks like it won't stop, because at this moment, I don't think that the water will stop. And then, the winter is coming, and this is kind of like the early winter, and we haven't, had much. No, and it's just like, eventually, I kind of worry about that, probably half of the road will be covered by ice. If the water just continues, and because when it gets out, and we will freeze, because the ice will block the water and to get to the drain system, right? And so I think that we, at least at this moment, I think that we should do something and to see whether your solution will work.
You have to wait for the weather, well,
No, we're supposed to have a little warmer weather.
Yeah.
Once, we could dig in the ground as long as it, it's not, if it doesn't freeze up for a couple of days, for a week or so, and then, once we break through that little bit of a frost on top or whatever, it's not gonna be hard to dig, so. And like I said, it'll be in a grassy area between the sidewalk and the curb, so. We'll see what we can do, we'll see if it'll stop the problem.
If we decide to do, and when do you think that will be the earliest time and to start this one? When, and the next week or? the week?
Yeah, we'll have 3 days, we'll do a one call and just make sure there's no utilities underneath there to hit. I don't wanna, we don't wanna hit the utilities on anything, so we'll do the one call, and then, so probably next week, and I think Sunday, I think we were calling Sunday 43, 45 degrees on Sunday,
48.
Sunday, Monday, so next week would probably be a good week, we can open that up, and like I said, it's not gonna take long to do it.
And if there's
Yeah.
not a drain under there,
Pardon me?
what if there's not a drain under there?
Well, there's gonna be probably
there
gravel
is
under
gravel.
there, but I was just looking for, I was kind of hoping that there was maybe an under drain pipe. A lot of times there'll be gravel through there, but like I said, even what Tim was saying too, if that's the case when that plan was built, I didn't know that there was that much spring water in that plan, I guess, when it was built. So, I mean, there's a good possibility there's a pipe under there.
That would be a bonus compared to just the gravel.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
yeah.
But either way.
Other than that, it wouldn't even fall the gravel down.
Yeah.
there.
Just, so even if you don't get lucky and find a pipe, you're gonna be fixing it somehow, something's gonna be
Yeah,
better
we'll-
than it was
Yeah,
before.
try, see what we can do.
Like,
There's sewer drains, so they're called, the thing, like,
The basin.
Sanitary or stormwater?
the thing that,
There are catch basins
Kids can,
and
like, get into-
stormwater pipe.
okay, yeah, that thing. So there was one of those that's like up. a
Catch
lot.
basin's further down the street, yeah, it's
Yeah, there's definitely one like,
100 feet
down
on
there,
either
yeah.
direction, so.
Yeah. there must be some sort of pipe there, I imagine.
Or some way for the water to get to there.
Yeah,
That's
get on it.
underground.
Yeah, underground.
Well, the pipes on that, the regular pipes that are in there run different direction. One that's up the street from it runs up the other way towards the detention pond. It's off of, Dawn
That's our
Drive.
problem.
And then the other one, the basin down, further down from it, crossing the road and goes in between the houses over to Dawn Drive. So that, there is no big pipe at all down through it. So we basically gotta hopefully catch, possibly piece of under drain or another fall or ground.
So the next time we see you, we'll know what happened with your construction.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Gary, can you respond to or reply to that, and our resident email? And,
I don't know if you have it, Gary, you, what was fine.
The email from the
We'll,
resident.
we'll respond.
We'll respond.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll respond, we'll
Okay.
have to respond. I just want to ask this is, something that's successful, do we want to have, is this like a practice in the borough? To, if somebody does drain out to the street, to have them, cover this as well?
Well, it's
If it's-
probably not gonna happen in all the, it might not be possible in all the places that we can.
Okay.
Tie into something like that, I don't know.
If he fixes this, he doesn't have to send his crew out every time there's a freeze to go take care of.
Yeah, no, I'm saying when it's a
So it's a
resident.
savings for us.
Oh, yeah, definitely, I'd like to speak to that, but like, in the future, if a resident has like this issue.
Yeah.
And they're willing to like, and they're gonna pipe it out to the street, should the requirement be they, not to dump it on the street, but to have them pipe it?
Yeah,
To have this built in.
Or we could have it, maybe
So it's not the
possibly
same
check
question.
into it before it's even checking to make sure there's a pipe there or something they can run it into.
Yeah.
before. Other than that, just,
So can they willy-nilly start piping water all over the place, Tim, anyway? Do they need to they need to like say, hey, I'm moving this water from like my roof gutter to the.
No, they
street?
can't do that.
Okay.
But I mean, it's gonna be up to the borough what they allow, because that's not their property, it's the borough, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's always been the problem.
But do they ask
It's
you
not
before
building
they do
permits.
this?
Yeah.
no, they just, they came to me, and said that they had, back there, their yard was so wet, they couldn't even do anything with it.
Okay.
And I said that, the way it was passed on to me through Bernie Grossman, when he was here, and I don't know how far back when it went, but I'm sure it went back years back, even when Ron Merriman was here, that they did that. It was just, I was just told that we were allowed to, just tell them that, hey, they were allowed to, there was a basin out in front of the house or a basin within their property area, they can tie, they can run an under drain into the back of the basin. They had to punch it through the basin, put it, parge it, seal it off, what I mean, we would allow them to do that. If there was no basin there, we allow them to take it down to the curb. And, and there's, I think this is only probably maybe since I've been here, maybe the second one, I think that I've even been involved with.
Not very common.
My race one was
It's
different.
not-
That was an abandoned mine that was raining.
Yeah, that water was really, that was a mine shaft.
The other thing with this too is if you have a little bit of a steeper street, the water stays in the gutter line and it has enough velocity to make it to the catch basin without a problem. This here is probably a little flatter and doesn't let the water get that velocity and get where it needs to go, so the grades aren't working for us in that scenario, so.
But it's a downhill, but I figured it because it is just so cold, that's,
Well, but I mean,
It's so
it's
supposed
not,
to level
I
it
mean,
and
you're
slow.
getting algae in there in the summertime, like,
Yeah.
over a complaint,
Because
so
it's
that
slow.
means that water isn't running very fast,
I
so.
thought that was grass clippings, you decided.
A little bit.
Well, it's grass clippings that helped out, yeah.
Yeah,
Algae in there.
But if the water's running, you know, moss doesn't grow in a rolling stone, so.
But there was a big significance, drop in the amount of water that come out of it when they first put it in there. That's why I kind of thought it almost might stop itself, you know.
okay.
But then there was when they first put it in there, their water was level.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate it. That's awesome. So we'll figure out a response. And then we'll see how this goes.
All right, other than that, that's all I have unless anybody else.
One other item I wanted to bring up, hopefully Lane.
Oh,
We have an issue where, a house that's actually on, Rochester Road, their side yard runs on Redwood Lane, and, apparently back in 1992,
Reese runs on.
Grease Run, I'm sorry. Back in 1992, the HOA planted a row of pine trees in the road right of way. Those pine trees got old and decrepit, so they cut them down 10 years ago and planted a new row of pine trees. But it's still in the road right of way, and now those pine trees are growing over the road, they're blocking a speed limit sign. Also in that right of way is a gas line and a water line. So Andy reached out, he got the call about the trees blocking this sign. The property owner where the trees are planted doesn't care if the trees are there or not because the property owner didn't plant them and they're in their side yard. I guess the HOA at this point doesn't care if the trees are there or not, but they do not want to pay to have them cut down. It would be anywhere between $500 and $1,000 for the borough to go out, just cut them all down, grind them up and leave. But the property owner directly across Oak Leaf Lane from the trees doesn't want the trees cut down because he doesn't want to have to look at the house that's there. But again, the trees are in the road right of way, which they shouldn't be, and they're over a gas line and a water line. So I recommend that we go cut them down.
Is it? Where's it out on Oak Leaf?
As soon as you turn,
As soon as you turn-
make a right hand turn into Oak Leaf, they're on the right hand
Right on the
side.
right hand
The
side.
whole road
Off
there.
the Reese Run, not off the road.
Off of Reese.
There's
Yeah, it's a row of
13
loose
hundred.
spruce pines.
I think you have to look at this from a safety perspective, and I think cutting them down is what you're.
I mean, at some point, when they have to do something with the water line or the gas line, they're gonna have to come down anyway.
Yeah, I agree.
So, if you're okay with the borough just going in and grinding them all up, cutting them down at the ground level, not doing any landscaping or removing any stumps, and then we leave it at that.
Where's the mulch go? The mulch that's created by the pond.
We take it over and pump it into the mulch pile we have over at the park. That's for the residents to use. If they use it.
Okay.
Okay, at the risk of expanding discussion even more tonight, is that extreme? Go in and cut them all down? Do we
Well-
have another option?
We could go in if we could cut a bunch of branches off these blue spruce pines, so on the roadside, there will be no low branches, and on the property owner's side, there will be branches. But again, at some point, because they're planted in the road right of way, if the water or gas company ever has to do any work, they will all have to come out.
At their expense.
Yeah, wait.
And if you trim
Yeah.
the side on it, if you trim the side of the pines, they're by the road, they're not, it's not gonna look good. Cause you're gonna have to take.
The trees are only
half
10
the
feet tall
side.
each, they were planted 10 years ago, they were probably 6 feet
The
tall.
house that faces Reese Run that's like brick and has blue shutters, am I thinking this correctly?
And I'm not sure.
It's right at the corner and faces, it's on the north corner of,
Yeah.
Reese,
I know, I probably can't see it here. This one.
of the streets. Did you get the pictures of that today?
To blow the critter up.
Of, the guy that's complaining about it?
Oh, yeah.
No.
That's what I was-
He sent me like a dozen pictures and
The pictures?
I didn't get a chance to look at it, but it looks like the street sign is very well visible, but you still have.
Oh,
the
it
issue
doesn't
of-
touch screen.
No, Right.
Yeah, he explains that they cut down some branches by
And
the
there's the
street
trees.
sign.
I gave him your email so he can send you pictures today.
No, he didn't do it.
Right here.
And this house faces this way.
Is the borough
That's
charged?
what it is.
That's on her, anything that happens here.
Well, we We would since they planted them, but they've already said they won't.
How's
So
that a
we could-
negotiation?
We could build them and pursue it.
Yeah.
If it comes.
What's that?
Their claim is that they weren't.
It's fairly
Yeah.
recent, except they have. So maybe it's not that recent.
Previous owner, but under some sort of agreement or something.
They, our code allows us to go against the property owner that borders the property to recoup our costs.
Not the.
So you have a third party that has no standing for that property in any way, shape or form, who actually planted the trees. Is what the issue is.
But
Oh, that's
the
not-
property owner would then go after the
They're
third
left
party,
the young
if they felt strongly about it, it would only keep going.
Which would cost us even more money.
Yeah,
Okay. And this could eventually impede the water line, like the roots.
Yeah.
All the way, so,
Oh, is it here?
Yes.
It could, but it- more than likely, whenever they have to go in and do any work, they would have
So,
to,
yeah.
Yeah.
the roots could also grow into the road.
So here.
Since the branches are already
There we
sticking
go,
everywhere,
yes.
that means the roots
And
are.
once the trees get larger,
This is the
that's
house.
if you top the
Here's the
river,
trees.
you have to turn up.
You go down.
That's not, it's pretty shallow.
It's here, Laura, did you,
That's true.
it doesn't even, this picture looks old, so it's this.
So.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, I think we got
It's
it
a
up
year
here.
ago.
So these are the trees.
Okay.
Why would they not care?
What do you want to
This house right here.
So the only one that cares is the one that really doesn't care about saying it, they're just across the road, just enjoying the trees, but they didn't put them in and they're not maintaining them.
As long as I get it okay, I'm taking them down.
If council's okay with it, Gary and I will coordinate, have you done.
Okay, one more question,
Yes.
and then I will be done. Why are we paying to take property, trees down that are on, I may have missed this, that are on their property?
It's on a borough right away.
Oh,
Right
I,
away.
okay, gotcha.
We could charge the property owner and then pursue them to get payment, but that would cost more than it would cost us to just
Gotcha.
remove.
Okay, I'm done.
I don't know how
What about the
Matt
bushes
Sugar
along
feel
the
about
wall?
that too.
I'm just looking at the- Is
Yeah.
that like a entrance wall or something?
Yeah,
There's this.
that's also in the road right of way.
Yeah, there's a lot
They
of
want
stuff
the
in
trees.
these older plans.
They
that
don't.
were-
Just take it right away.
Down there.
Because they didn't want them on their property, so they put them on ours.
Do we need to tell them, like? Because we have to-
Wasn't it?
Yeah, we will let them know we're doing it. Well, the gentleman who's complaining, the property owner.
Right here.
Remove or change this.
Right here.
No,
Oh, yeah.
you can offer them Christmas trees if you want.
Well, I was gonna say, what about the mulch?
That
Maybe
right
people
there,
want
right?
mulch.
They actually are. Perfect Christmas tree.
Creative problem solving.
There's enough you can share.
Great. Simple to me.
Yeah, reuse. If somebody wants those trees, we could just like, thingy around here, but.
I think that's true.
Christmas.
That's what it's, that's okay. Yeah,
Trees are more like Christmas vacation trees.
Okay.
They're just a little bit too big.
okay, thanks.
We shall
Trees are
proceed.
bothering me. I'm spending all tonight.
Very good. Very good.
There's not a whole lot going on this month, no applications for zoning hearing board or planning board, so. We're just gonna be singing jingle bells and.
What, anything to do with 2568 Wexford, Maine?
About what?
Anything going on there other than it was secured?
Yeah, that's all been closed up, in accordance with the, the ordinance.
You
as
got
far
a
as
plan or
sealing it up.
anything going on?
He's talked to me, I ran into him the other day and he said he's getting ready to start to, I guess, put the siding on it, breaking it or whatever he's gonna do, and his, window of delivery is supposed to be December 12th or something.
Still single family is the plan right now?
What's that?
Still single family is the plan right now?
On the septic.
No, I think they actually put a drip irrigation system in it. So that they couldn't maintain, I guess they didn't have the permit was no good for the conventional system anymore, and probably wouldn't meet today's requirements for that, so they had to opt to go to a drip irrigation. Which probably need $40,000.
Look at this, the dream house in every way.
All right.
So if you need a room, there's gonna be plenty on the line.
Oh, man.
Okay, sounds good. Anything else?
I don't have anything else, just a bunch of events this month. I got my report, Acorn is coming along really well. Independent, for as much as they can do, we're just about done, they, topsoiled all the edges. Couple spots of the paving that didn't go well last week with the soft ground, but in the end, it's not a big deal because it makes easier access for the playground, people who were there this week putting their stuff in. So they're just about done to the most of what they can do for now. We have a meeting tomorrow, I guess. And we'll meet with them. And then for the golf course, the motion 35 is the triplex mower that we bought a few years ago. This is another set of reels that makes that a dual use. I originally told it wasn't going to come in, and then it came in, and then the price is just over R3 bid. But being it's a John Deere and it's a golf specialty equipment, there is only one dealer. That's why it is set up that way. And it was approved on this 24 budget, so.
Golf course, what are you thinking? About shutting them down?
I think pretty much, yeah. I mean, as cold as it's been the last week or so, that 1 or 2 days next week, it's, the greens are frozen.
Right.
So it's just, I still want to, if the winter's mild like in the previous years, I still would like to try the $10 within the mailbox, but as of right now, the ground's frozen, so it's not, other courses, like Cranberry Highlands, they give a hard date. Once they get on that date, they're not. And it's just too much. It's just not, you're not making any money. You're just appeasing a few that want to get out there and basically losing on it. So I think we're pretty much for this season. Other than that, we'll be open for a few days for last minute gift cards and hat sales and stuff like that we usually do right before Christmas. Maybe next week or Friday, Saturday, and then the last weekend before Christmas, we'll have a few days, but that's all for the golf course this year.
I told
But-
them no sled riding.
Yeah. But again, another record year. Our rounds is the same as they were last year, so we haven't dropped off at all. We just keep plugging forward there. So
Always seems busy, that's for sure.
yeah, people love it there. So it's a nice little niche we have there.
Again, the golf course back when I was hired 6 years ago, had to borrow money from the general fund every year and pay back, and now it's self-sufficient, got the cash reserves. Pretty impressive.
Not much to add, actually, Jim, summarized Acorn Park pretty well. Bridges are ordered by the contractor, that'll be the next big item of work for them, so paving, concrete, all that's done. They'll be starting to site those in the next couple of weeks here, hopefully materials get delivered. Utility connections, ongoing, bless you, and in Acorn, or in, Duquesne Light, progressing along. We spring opening here and we'll be in good shape. Other than that, I don't have much else for this evening. Six questions of me.
That's good. Chief?
Beyond my report, I have a couple things, in reference to motion 11, the hiring of Mark Philippi. We've completed his background, psychological, his physical polygraph interview. I want to express a thank you to the mayor, for his endorsement and council support in that. On December 13th, Franklin Park, PD, along with, McCandless, Ross, Northern Regional, Westview, I think I have them all, are participating in a DUI roving checkpoint between 8 p.m. and 1 a.m. We are going to participate in Presents from Police. It's a benefit that was created by Chief Nemec from Aspinwall years ago. A collection of toys, and they're delivered to 3 different locations, Children's Hospital being one. I participated in that in the last few years, prior to COVID, and then it stopped, and then after COVID. It's a wonderful event. So, if I know everybody's on our social media, so you've seen the posting, appreciate any donations. And lastly, in reference to body cam video and car camera video, we have not received a lot of inquiries to obtain any. However, when you do, there's a redaction to that that's very complicated. We actually don't have the software to be able to handle that. So the district attorney's office has an MOU that we can sign. That what happens is we turn it over to them. They determine whether it's going to be released. They redact it. They are responsible then for charging the fees. I ran the MOU by Max. It was about 44 different departments that signed the MOU with the DA's office. So I wanted to move forward with that as well, so we can take that out of our hands, because like I said, we don't have the capability of redacting that if we had to.
So it's kind of like a freedom of information request for.
Yeah, Act
The
22
charter.
of 2017. Is that right, Max?
Whereabouts?
Yeah, so, yeah.
Makes sense.
And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, manager report.
There's nothing on the agenda, but I just wanted to mention that, Gary has identified a new public works employee, who has accepted an offer. If we get all of the background and fiscal and everything done in time, would have that person start January 1st. Bob Thornton, left our employee in July, and we've been down one man since then. So, we would be, effective January 1st, if everything works out, we would be bringing this person on board as laborer, promoting our current laborer and a skilled laborer, and promoting one of our skilled laborers to equipment operator. So that would all take place in January 1st.
Alright, sounds good. All right, the last thing is reports from council and mayor. Who's doing it first?
I don't think I have anything tonight.
Not for me.
I'm good. Okay, yeah. Mayor?
Okay, there's a magazine that just hit the newsstand here in Franklin Park where it's called North Hills Monthly. And it's available now at several different places. I actually picked mine up at Pomodoro. And but they're at I think Sheets, I think they're at Coons, Giant Eagle, the library. It's a great magazine, and Uday and myself, we were interviewed, so we are in the magazine with our interviews. I think we did a pretty good job of what I did. But anyway, I have one, and I was gonna bring it tonight, and I walked out the door without it. But I have, Bree, just so you know, I have 40 of them being delivered to the borough building tomorrow or Friday.
That'll boost circulation.
So.
It is, well, it's a magazine with different articles in it, the ballet theater is in it, we're in it. It really is a nice article, and it capitalizes not only on Uday and what we had to say, but on our restaurants. Pomodoro was in it, and Sir Pizza, and some other places, but it's really a good article. Uday, what do you think?
Yeah, I know, it's pretty good. I know we went back and forth on a couple of things, so I was happy to be part of it. I thought it was good, I think it's good publicity for Franklin Park.
Have you seen a copy of it?
Yeah, there's a digital version. I'll forward it on, so. you
What's
can
the
have that.
article about?
What's that?
What's the article about?
Franklin Park.
Yeah, just Franklin Park, and
They're profiling a city, and they asked if they could profile our city, so.
and prompted me with, it's hard to explain, but read it.
Okay, will do.
Your best way.
Yeah, there's pictures that we provided. Zach, thanks for that.
Carol, have you seen it? Have you seen it anywhere?
I have not, no.
But it's, yeah, there's a lot of pictures from Franklin Park. Our parks is what we were really pushing. We talked about like the desirability, how it's grown. Maintain a blend of like the old current future stuff. So read the article.
So you could come by the borough building, and there'll be probably 40 of them here tomorrow.
Still.
That's all I have to say.
Thanks. What?
I just want to say thank you to Tom. I think what you said tonight at the meeting was eloquent
Yeah.
and clear. and as about as concise as we could have made it. So thank you for,
Hope I didn't miss any of the key points, but I think,
I don't think so.
I just thought we had to say something before we.
Yeah, very good job.
Thank you for putting it together.
Yeah, I want to thank Laura for the messaging for the tax increase because we're able to communicate clearly to the residents what we were doing and why we were doing it. And it really helped in a transparent way, which I don't think too many boroughs do. I think they just went out and say we're doing a tax increase and this is the meeting. So I feel like we've done a really good job to get the message out, to invite people to participate in the process, and the messaging was really clear. So thanks.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'd say thanks, Tom, especially the speech you gave. You covered a lot of things that I was thinking of, so you're very confident. So that's good. Laura for putting together of the FAQ, that was definitely big, and then also everyone working on it. I know, it's kind of a pain making you guys like dig through spreadsheets and all the details, every cell, but that's definitely needed. And Brian, I agree, but we were definitely a lot more transparent than other boroughs. You know, I regularly meet with other borough, council people, mayors and elected officials, and you know, they're like, yeah, and they casually usually say, yeah, we're probably looking at those increases as well. I'm like, did you guys do a due diligence process or anything? And nothing. You know, they kind of just like do it and that's it. Like, whereas we are very extensive in our analysis.
I think this probably also points out, and we've talked about this in foreshadow, that we need to look at something that's gonna bring in more revenue than just increasing the taxes, people to balance the budget, and we need to look at, is it the home rule charter, is there something else that we can do to kind of, you know?
Yeah, this sheds light on the situation, which is needed. So
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. in the agenda. Yeah, no executive session, so we are. Like, there, right?
Oh, okay, that's good.
We're done.
I think we're adjourned. Yeah, thank you, everybody.
My wife.